Hey admins, how we doing out there? Today's video is just a little bit different, coming from you from Reno, Nevada. I was trying to get the camera so you could see the mountains in the background, but I know that it bleaches out when it's focusing on me. So unfortunately, you can't see how pretty that is right there where the mountains are. um, I do want to thank all the lodges that were out here this past week, and uh, more importantly, I want to remind us all that lodges are obligated to send a representative to convention. So we know when convention is next year, so we need to be planning for it. So in Indiana, you need to be having some type of fundraiser, whether that be with your general funds and doing something like, some lodges sell candy bars and chips and their miscellaneous goes to cover that trip. Some lodges do actual projects, whether they're having a fundraising project where they're selling something like, the laundry detergent or dish soap, that type of stuff. You can also use that out of gaming, because gaming in Indiana, it is allowed to pay for your representatives to go to conventions. Um, but again, don't just rely on your regular gaming to pay for that. Have your administrator or president out there doing some fundraisers, if it is in gaming, and you setting those funds aside. So, very popular are those very small cardboard boards that have like 350 tickets in it, and the lodge may make $50 on it. That should be something that your president and administrators out there working, one game on the weekend, one Friday or Saturday night when there's a lot of people in the lodge, and let people know that's what that's covering for. Let your members know that you're out there actually trying to fundraise to cover those costs. It's not something you just expect the lodge to cover. Excuse me. Also, sure tips are a very popular way, raffle off some items, and again, let them know that that's what that's being earmarked for. So we'd like to see more lodges out here next year. Um, Okay, with that said, though, I want to thank all the lodges that were out here, and we had 23 Premier Lodge Award winners this year. That was fantastic for the association. That actually went in not quite, but almost doubled the number from the year before, and the year before was one of the best years we had. We went from 12 last year to 23 this year, so congratulations to those lodges. They did a lot of hard work. The line to meet for a Premier Lodge award is out there. I'll share it again. But one of the important things is you have to be at the convention at the start of the year. So someone has to be here as a representative of your lodge to get credit for PLA next year. So again, next year is going to be in New Orleans. Who doesn't want to go to New Orleans? It should be fun. Those who got leadership awards for presidents and administrators. In this email that I'm sending out with the link to this video, I will put a list of the presidents and administrators from Indiana that won that award. I will also be attaching the master list with all of them, just in case I might have missed one. Check that list to see if you're on there, if you aren't on the part that I put on there, just to make sure. If your lodge did not get a Premier Lodge Award, or one of your administrators or presidents believes you should have gotten one of those and you did not, lodges have until July 3rd to contest that. Jesse and I did a pretty good job, though, this year checking all of our lodges, and there were a couple lodges we had to fight for already, and that's already been taken care of. But before you contact Moose International and make that complaint, contact your territory manager first, and let us look to make sure that we can look at it and determine whether or not you should have gotten one or not gotten one, and if you did not get one, the reason why. So make sure you're looking up those standards, which I'll put that in this email as well, what the Premier Lodge Award was, what the minimum was to attain that, and the same thing for the leadership awards, because leadership awards, there's always a category somebody thinks they should have got one, and then they miss one of the requirements. And we need to remember those requirements. It seems like ones that we seem to forget sometimes as administrators or presidents, forget that they have to sponsor 3 members in last year's physical Moose year to achieve that award. Plus, they had to be at convention, mid-year international convention. And another one on there that we seem to forget, they have to have met all minimum training requirements. So presidents have to have lodge leadership training and be current on it. But admins have to have 2 hot, they have to have lodge leadership, and they have to have admin training. And if they're not current on those, that will affect the status of that. So, once again, if you have any questions on that, contact your territory manager. Jesse or I will be more than glad to help you guys with that. But again, the deadline for that is July 3rd. Also, we're coming up quickly on the deadline for Moose of the Year. That is July 7th. I would hate for somebody to kind of forget to put it in over the holiday, being that the 4th of July is in the middle of the week, and then we kind of forget about putting it in, it doesn't get done. I've already covered the process before in past videos on who takes care of that and how that process works out. But please just remember that it needs to get put in by July 7th. Prefer earlier, that way Jesse or I don't have to call you and remind you that it needs to be entered. We're getting at the end of the month, and we need to work on retention as well. The association is down right now about 300. We have a week to go. I believe that we'll be able to hit +1 by the end of the month. I have no doubts in that. I'm quite confident in that. But what I do want to remind lodges, if we aren't doing any type of retention at all, we need to make sure at a minimum the officers are getting together right before a meeting and contacting expired members. A phone call is the best way, in my personal opinion. It works the best. It's a personal connection. The members understand that you care about them by contacting them. Even a text or leaving a message on their phone, because I understand a lot of times they won't pick up your phone, answer your phone call because they don't know the cell phone number. Understand that. Leave them a message. And please be friendly about it. Please don't say, hey, Bob, your dues are due. We need to get in here and pay them. Say, hey, Bob, we haven't seen you for a while. We're concerned about you. We want to make sure you're okay. By the way, the reason why we know that is because your dues are coming up. So we just want to make sure everything's okay. I want to remind you about that. Make it a friendly thing. Same thing with a text. Don't just put on there, you need to come in and renew your dues. Say, hey, just checking on you. And the reason why we realize we haven't seen you for a while, your dues are due. Make it friendly. Last but not least, and I'm trying to get under 10 minutes, so we'll see what happens. I'm at 7, is officer training. All lodge officers, elected officers, must have their lodge leadership training done by June 30th. And so we're coming up on that deadline. There are no in-person classes left in the state of Indiana, so they'll have to go online and do it that way. If they need help, administrators and presidents and other officers who've taken it before, please help them. Again, I'm not saying do it for them, but show them where it's at. Help them through it. Your experience is going to help them a long ways, especially if they've never taken the class before. If they are not trained by that time and you have untrained officers, the territory manager will be looking at that after July 1st, and we will be having a conversation with those lodges, because those officers will get an ultimatum and possibly be removed from office if they do not have that completed. I know a lot of us don't seem to think that that's very serious, but that is a serious issue. Make sure all your elected officers are trained with lodge leadership. Junior past president, I get this question a lot, do they have to have it? They've had to have it before. They're technically not an elected officer. They're there by condition. So if they're a little expired, I don't get too huffy about that one. It's the actual elected officers that we get really huffy about not having it. Had a great time in Reno. If you didn't come, you really missed out. Plan on next year. New Orleans is always a fun time. So should be really good. All right. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good day. Take care. We'll see you next week. Bye.